everyone, Magpie 37 here. Right, we can't go out metal detecting because of the lockdown, so I'm going to try and find something else to do. So today I decided to do a little wine, one of my hobbies. So yeah, I've got everything I need, I think. Right, what wine I'm going to make, I'm thinking of Ribena wine. So I've got 1.5 litres there of Ribena wine, which we'll have to boil a bit later on now. Got all the rest of the ingredients: citric acid, don't know if you can see that, citric acid, Camden tablets, that's for sterilising, which I've already done, pectolase, and yeast nutrient. I've got my yeast. This is a very popular yeast, this one. I like it anyway. I find it the best one. They're cheap to buy and they do the trick. Right, got my bungs, my rubber bungs, and my airlocks all ready, and my sugar, and of course you need a funnel. And not forgetting a thermometer. Don't know if you can see that. No, it's not focusing. Not focusing. Never mind, it's a thermometer. It's one of the tools you need in winemaking, and a spoon. Got my scale ready to measure the sugar. Weigh the sugar. I got my pan to boil the Ribena. I've already washed one bottle, sanitized it. I used to say sterilise it, but I had a bit of a telling off once before because I said sterilising. Same thing, I think. But right, fermenting bin, which is already cleaned. Everything's clean in there. It's all been washed out and clean. Still got one bottle to wash, which I'll do right now. As you can see, it's quite hard one hand, but you've got to make sure everything's clean and sterile. Let's get some foam around. Excuse the noise. Yeah, make sure everything's clean and spotless. Let's see if I can get this out now without making a mess. Not easy. Right, we put that aside, wash it out later on. Right, this is a bit hard one-handed, so I'm going to attempt to stand you up on the windowsill there and show you how I wash my bottle out. Right, get back to you in a little bit. Right, this is the best I can do, I think. So anyway, let's give it a good old wash out. I've already used the brush, so give it a spin like that to get the foam out. As you can see, there's loads of foam left. So this is my method. I'm getting all the rest of the foam out. This may take a little while. As you can see, all the foam will come out, disperse. It's a simple, easy way of doing things. Slow things down a bit. And the rest of the foam will come to the surface and it'll be foam free. As you can see, the foam comes to the surface. Right, the next stage, let's get that out of the way. If you give it a spin, to create a whirlpool inside. You find all the foam goes out with it. Here we are, foam free. Let's just give it a rinse off. Which don't burn your hands with hot water, like I've done so many times. Get the excess water out. And we'll be ready for action. Right. Put that over there. Dry my hands, and I'll get back to you with the next stage. Right, I've washed my pan, everything ready. So now to tip in the ingredients of the Ribena wine. The Ribena. Right, let's open. Safety. Very good. Right, just pour in the Ribena. I'm using 1.5 litres of Ribena. It's supposed to be 12 ounces, I'm not sure what the measurement is. So all that will go in. I like mine a bit stronger than normal. I like to add a bit more flavour. So there we are, all the Ribena is in there. Right, let's get it onto the cooker. Right, get you back in a bit. Right, we'll just wait for the Ribena to can't find a spoon. There we go. Just wait for the Ribena to warm up. Then I'll measure out the sugar. Measure out the sugar, and then we'll add it to dissolve. I'll make this up to 2 gallons afterwards, a bit later on, and when it's cool enough then I'll add my pectolase, my yeast nutrient and the citric acid. This will take some time, so right, I'll get back to you in a bit when it's starting to boil. Right, so while we're waiting for that to boil, I've measured out 1 pound of sugar. I don't know if you can make that on a scale. £1 pound of sugar. So yeah, that'll be added afterwards. I need 6 pounds of sugar in all for 2 gallons of wine, which will be up here. 2 gallons of wine. So I'm just coming into boil now. I'll dissolve the sugar in the blackcurrant, the Ribena juice afterwards now, and we'll allow it to cool before I add the rest of the ingredients. Just a small amount, half a teaspoon, or say a teaspoon of citric acid, a teaspoon of pectolase, and a teaspoon or perhaps a teaspoon and a half of yeast nutrient. That's food for the yeast. And the pectolase. The pectolase is to help break down the fruit So yeah, right, let's turn it down a bit. I'll try and get it to simmer. I'll gradually add the sugar. Alright, let's add the sugar. Right, I've got steam on the lens now. Let's add the sugar. While that is starting to boil again, I'll weigh out 1 pound sugar again. Right, let's turn this down a little bit again. To get it to simmer. And I'll weigh out another pound of sugar. So, if you bear with me. I'm hoping the pan's going to be big enough. Normally there's a 10 litre pan to do me wine making, boiling and things. Here we are, 1 pound. I'm going to need more than this, aren't I? So let's get back to this. The cold sugar has made it slow it down a little bit. Bring it back up to boil, and then I'll simmer for 10 minutes. Right, I'll get it back to you in a bit when it starts to boil again. Right, it's boiling nicely now. I've added 2 pounds of sugar. I think I'll add the rest then in the bucket when I tip it into the bucket, and when it cools then the rest of the ingredients. So I've got my 3rd pound of sugar there ready, which I've not a lot left in this bag, but I got another bag. So yeah, simmer this for, well, it's taken 5 minutes. 5 minutes to come to the boil. So what I'll do now is I'll leave that until 20 minutes, leave it boil for 15 minutes. Simmer 15 minutes to boil out any ingredients in the Ribena, like preservatives and things like that. We don't want them in there. So we're going to boil them out, and well, I'll add the rest of the ingredients, as I say, and get everything ready. Airlocks then. These are good airlocks, these are. I like these. Some people don't like them because they're noisy, but I like to hear the noise. I like to hear them bubbling. So yeah. So I'll leave that now until 20 past, or 20 minutes, quarter an hour then, and let them boil. And I'll get back to you in a bit. Back in a bit. Right, this has been simmering now for a good quarter of an hour. And right, let's put that in the sink. I've already added the sugar in the the bucket ready. Let's move that out of the way. I just made myself a cappuccino. I can't drink that now. So I'll have that a bit later on now. Right, I'll turn that off. I'm going to add that to the bucket without spilling it all. tricky. Without steaming the lens up. So there you are, steamed the lens up now. A little clear. So I'm just going to add a little bit of water to this, if I can get the steam off. Right, I'll have to get back to you on that then. Gives us the lens a clean. Right, I'm back. Right, just add a bit of water, cold water to this. Just to rinse the pan out a bit. Without spilling it. Right, not too much at the moment. Because I want to stir in the sugar, dissolve all the sugar without steaming the lens up again. So this is going to take a little bit of time. I'll need two hands to do this, so I'm going to switch you off for a little bit and I'll come back to you a bit later on. Right, see you in a bit. Right, that's great. Managed to stir up all the sugar. It's a bit like jam at the moment, quite thick. So the sugar has displaced quite a bit. It's nearly up to a gallon in liquid. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to use the pan because there's a little bit left in there, and add some water, cold water, make it up to 2 gallons. And then I'm going to stir it all in. Right, without spilling it all. Let's have another one. Sorry about the noise. These taps are noisy. There we are. Right, let's get this in there. Nearly there. A little bit more. Right, to see how that goes. Slightly over the 2 gallon. So yeah. Right, just stir all this in. Looking lovely, isn't it? Isn't that looking lovely? All the sugars are dissolved in there. Lovely stuff. Right, just over 2 gallons, as you can see, slightly over, but there'll be some, well, I'll have a little bit left over to top up the bottle. You can't top up the bottle all the way. So let's take a reading. Can't see this. Right, let's see what sort of temperature we got. (85 degrees Celsius, Fahrenheit). What we need is 70, ideally 70 degrees, 21 degrees Celsius. That's what we need. So yeah, 85 degrees Celsius, Fahrenheit. So we'll get that down to 70 before we add the yeast and the nutrients and all the rest of it. So yeah, let's put that in there to wash it. Right, I'll get back to you in a bit when the temperature comes down. Right, see you in a bit. Meanwhile, don't forget to wash everything. Keeps everything happy in the house. So yeah. Pans can get quite messy with that Ribena. So yeah, nicely washed. Dry it up a bit later on. Now you washed the brush and the spoon. So yeah, keep everyone happy. Demijohns have been washed already. Scale is clean. My cappuccino is waiting there. My snack. I'm waiting for this to cool off now. Down to about 70 degrees, 21 degrees Celsius. So yeah, and then all the rest of the ingredients will be added. Then I'll mix everything up and I'll pour it out, everything into demijohns. Right, see you in a bit. Right, it's been a few hours now since I put all this together, and I think it's cooled down enough now. I'll give it a stir first of all. Give it a stir first of all now, and we'll check the temperature. Right, let's see what we got. Give it a second or so. Right, what temperature do we have? You can't really see that, can you? It's slightly over 70 degrees. You can't make that out. Camera's not focusing properly. But it's slightly over 70 degrees. I think we're quite safe now to add the ingredients, the rest of the ingredients. Right, just give this a wash. Put on the draining board to dry off. Give it a dry properly now. Righty ho, what do we have? We'll start off with the pectolase first of all. Right, bit awkward. Right, pectolase. I'm going to put 2 spoons of pectolase in there. I'll have to get some more too. Right, so we've got 2 spoons of pectolase. Not that, citric acid. I'll put 1 spoon of citric acid in here. So don't mistake that for sugar. Spilling it everywhere. And 2 spoons of yeast nutrient. Right, I'll put this over here so it doesn't spill everywhere. Right, that's that. Yeast nutrient, 1 for each gallon. Right, just give that a stir. All those ingredients are in now. Give it a good stir. Right, what I'm going to do now is add the yeast. Wilco's universal yeast. I notice a lot of people use this, so I've always used it. It's easy enough to do. That's all I do normally, is sprinkle it on top and then leave it. Lots of people stir it in, but I find the best way is just to sprinkle it on top, really. So that's the yeast in there, and I'll put the lid on now. I might give it a quick stir just to get it in. Stick into the side. Right, that's it then. We'll leave that. I'll leave that warm up now. Put it in a warm place, sorry. Put that in a warm place. And then we'll check it a bit later on. And then we'll put into demijohns. I've covered the demijohns over, stop any flies, anything going in. So they're ready. I've got the airlocks ready and the water inside them. Don't know if you can make that out. You don't put a lot of water in. See the first bubbles there? That's all you need. I've got everything ready, so my yeast. So we'll just leave that in the warm place now until fermentation starts, and then I'll put everything into the demijohn. 2 demijohns. Right, until then, I'll see you all on YouTube, and that's it. Not much more to say. Just wait for this to start up now, and then I'll transfer it to demijohns and let it ferment out. Right, ta-ra for now. Ta-ra.
She's waiting for love to be realized. I'll send her my heart covered as a gift, and hope that you'll take it into her side.